Hi, everybody. Welcome to Trendy Trading. My name is Jonathan. Let's go ahead and get started with the broad market analysis this week. So, on tap, we have so much earnings, so many different names, so many exciting names, and I cannot wait to trade this week. The overall market, in my opinion, has pulled back into a little bit of demand. We're getting somewhat of a relief bounce right now. It's questionable, right? In my opinion, price moves, right, based off of catalyst, but it moves into supply and demand. And anytime we're coming into earnings season and we get that nice, strong pullback, in my opinion, we are just setting up for a big playing field. So it's giving us more range to trade off. And I'll go over that just here in a few minutes, okay? But as you can see, again, a lot of big names reporting. The first thing kind of get grabs my attention is Tesla here. Then we have Netflix and a couple other big names through here, as you can see. The next thing that I want to tell you about is Market Watch, and this information right here is free to you and to me. And I'm able to just kind of come over here and see if we got any big, numbers coming up, something I need to be aware of, where we might get some volatility in the market. Okay, and so just looking through this, in my opinion, there's a little bit of volatility that can happen around the beige book, initial jobless claims, and then possibly here Friday morning. Fridays have not been great over the last several days. They've been pretty good at a fake out and then a nice pullback, as you could see that last Friday. Now, because we're coming into earnings, I do feel like we're a little capped to the upside and downside, and they'll be waiting for information that will give us some, short volatility, some short bursts in some names. So, like, if you're trading something that is correlated with another name that's reporting this week, you probably want to take, a few notes or just be aware. Okay, so for example, like if NVIDIA was reporting earnings, which I don't think they are, but if they were and you were in AMD, that would be something you want to take note of and just be cautious going and holding something like that overnight, okay? All right, so let's get started with the broad market analysis. The first thing I'm going to do is actually put up my Discord server, and this is the broad market analysis. So I'm going to go over all of this with you tonight and make this pretty straightforward. The first thing, like I said, we went over earnings. Again, that's free. That's on Twitter, and that's under Earning Whispers. And then Market Watch, again, free information. You can go out there and grab that. I like to just have it in here in the room so everybody can see that. Then I like to go over what's called SPY, the bigger picture. And what I'm looking for is the monthly. And right here, my notes are currently the candle is looking like a doji as we head into the earnings season, which really doesn't surprise me. So basically, there's an indecision. This week should be fun. Major numbers for me for SPY are 363.20 and 350.27. Everything between that is noise for me. All right. Now, this is not including the neutral strategy that I'll go over with you here in a second. This is the bigger picture so far as the monthly is concerned. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. So this is what the monthly looks like. I pointed over the last several months. We have this quarterly inside and down or quarterly supply zone. We have a monthly supply zone, and you can see we rolled over here. And now we're just kind of sitting here. We did hit our next target to the downside. And again, those major targets for me are your resistance and support levels going into this week. And honestly, if neither one of them breaks, then we just kind of trade sideways here. Okay. And again, that's what I'm looking for on SPY as far as the monthly is concerned. And if you look, we've just come back to the relief rally zone. We're underneath the cloud. Anytime we're underneath the cloud, that is resistance until proven otherwise. Again, major levels, okay, just write these down, are going to be 363.20. Okay, and you can see right in this region, that's where that 363.20 is, and then to the downside is 350.27, which is that first target that we hit. That's where that wick is right there, right here. And so I want to see that hold. If that can hold, I do believe we can push up, but again, how far can we push up? Okay, if we get over 363.20, things start to look a lot better to the upside. All right, so that leaves us to SPY and QQQ. All right, and we'll go right into that, make this really quick. We'll pull up the SPY and QQQ chart. This is going to be for 1016, okay? This is the neutral strategy, and this is what we're looking at, okay? So again, price In the neutral, I really don't want to do anything. However, if you're aggressive, because there's a lot of points between here and here, okay? If you want to, right? Say price gaps up tonight and we open up into the 360.87 level. Right now we're at 358.22 by 73. This is resistance until proven otherwise, and I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because typically we'll go long over this, but if we're opening up into it, I need you to understand you're opening up into resistance. All right, I'd much rather open up kind of flat, and that way we can trade the momentum over this green line, and then we're trimming into these targets. The biggest thing from here is just to know that the targets to the upside are resistance until proven otherwise. Levels to the downside are support until proven otherwise. If I open at one of those, that's how I gauge my sentiment in the morning. Okay. Now notice here on QQQ, we have a lot more targets to the upside. That was kind of, I think, a couple kind of snuck in there. Usually I only had 3 to the downside, 3 to the upside. Okay, so please understand that. But if you want these are legit targets and these are okay to use. I don't foresee us moving all the way up here, but you never know. So again, if you want to use these up here and we happen to get above this trendy edge here, then we could see prices move into those levels on the Qs. Big thing here, just take a snapshot, write down these numbers. These are my levels for SPY and QQQ. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize that. I'm going to just click on here and go to the Qs. And on here, I want to look at the monthly as well. All right, so the monthly on QQQ, this is important. We're under the 618. So what I did was measured from this COVID level 2020 into the pivot high, just with some Fibonacci's. All right, and right now, when you break the golden Fibonacci, which is the 618, it tells me that the trend that we just measured is broken. It's legit broken from a Fibonacci perspective. That's a big deal to me. Okay, so your major levels are going to be the 618. Can we get above 269? You know, if we can't, there's a high probability, folks, in the next several weeks, if earnings do not push price up and over the 618, that you should see down towards 235. And if 235 breaks, folks, we got the 88.7 down here at 208.12. Now that sounds a little bearish, so please understand it's a if this then that. So again, we're going to use the neutral strategy, but this is the bigger picture. And if the month cannot close over 268.94, then things look really probable for a move down into the 235 level. Okay, so again, that's QQQ. And I do have some major levels here. So if we pull up Discord again, you'll see here major levels this week, 268.94 and 253.25. So again, 268.94, that's that 618. It also happens to be the trendy edge. And then 253.25, which happens to be this target level. And I gave you this target level last week. We almost came into it. I missed it by a few points there, but no big deal. All right, nothing really else to talk about this. Again, earnings. And if you've been listening to me and watching me for many moons and many years, then you know this is my favorite time of trading. And all of this makes sense to me. A pullback into earnings and just kind of waiting. Okay, and I'm going to keep reiterating that. The next thing that I want to talk about, let's go ahead and go in here into Discord. And you're going to see the DXY, or the dollar. Caution above 114. Now I'm going to go over these charts with you really quick, but nothing's changed. These blueprints have been the same blueprint that I've been using for months now, and we could tell that the dollar was strong a long time ago, and I'm sure you can too if you know how to read charts. But one thing to note here is that it's pretty extended. I do believe that if we cannot take out the high up here, we are going to turn around. The dollar's going to sink. It's probably going to come back to 108.26, and then possibly a test of the EMA cloud. You'll get a nice bounce from there, but overall, I do believe we come back here to this demand level that puts the dollar down towards 103. Right now, when you look at the monthly, you need to understand the bigger picture. Okay, let's do this. Okay, just like that. When we take some fibs, all right, and we apply the Fibonacci to the pivot high, and it doesn't have to be exact, so I'm just going to give you some reference points here. And I'm going to get you the norm. Okay, right there. We are above the 38.2. And when we are in a downtrend and we rise above the 38.2, we're no longer in a bear channel. Hence this big rally. So again, all technicals here. My next level that you could see on the dollar, especially if it takes out that high, is the 50, okay, which puts us at 117. If for some reason the dollar can actually hold and sustain the 50, then we will see the 618, folks, at 129, which is absolutely incredible. All right. Now, if you're a bull and you're tired of seeing the market go down and you just want to get some kind of relief and some sort of relief bounce, well, guess what? Again, we really, really need price not to take out the high this month. Matter of fact, this topping wick that we got last month was a good sign that the dollar was going to rest. This little purple line here, that is the trendy edge. That is a supply zone on a lower time frame. Notice how it came up and stalled? That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Okay, so if for some reason the dollar starts to bid above this trendy edge, I would definitely lean towards the cautious side. Not until we roll over and back under that would I start to feel a little bit better for the longs. So again, please add an alert right there, and that way if we start to bid over there, take some caution. The next thing that we're going to look at is the TNX, okay, or the Treasury. We've been talking about this for a very long time. Matter of fact, we started covering this about a year ago, and the TNX has broken through my resistance, okay? Again, on a monthly chart, very, very important. It's very extended, in my opinion. It's definitely at levels where you need to be cautious. Sorry about that. So anytime you move something and you don't mean to, whether it's on Thinkorswim or TradingView, select Control Z and that's going to bring anything back. Even if you delete something, Control Z and it comes back. All right. You're welcome. All right, so we're bidding above the resistance, 3.99. If we hold and stay above there, folks, then again, watch out. With the dollar and the TNX pushing like this, just know that it's extended, but it also means big yellow flag, okay, on those longs. All right, so one thing though, before I move on, that doesn't mean that I don't take longs even during this period, because we are intraday trading for the most part to, make monthly income or daily income, I should say. And I do swing as well, okay, but it needs to come down into demand levels. So when I say be careful on longs, I mean from an intraday perspective. So I'm always intraday until proven otherwise, meaning I'm taking my profits a little bit quicker on my options. Typically, like, since the market is down and if we're taking moves up, we're looking to trim out a lot sooner than normal, okay? Anyways, TNX, big yellow flag. Let's go back over to Discord, see what we got going on here. And as we move down, we'll look at the skew. And then I have futures. Okay, and so actually I just noticed I put the NQ in the wrong channel here. But let's go over to the skew really quick. All right, these are your hedge funds. It's been saying risk on. If you've been listening to me for months now, it's the same thing as last year. Okay. Now, typically what you'll see is 60 to 90 days out when we are in this range is that the market moves up. Okay. Timing is the variable. So this is typically a risk on environment. This year's been a little bit different. It's been like last year. Last year, we hung up here for quite some time. Okay. Right in here. And it was telling us to be careful. And so it was very hard to go full on bull mode if you were watching all your technicals because we were looking for the drop. So what happened is that the market melted up and it didn't drop until this year. All right. So it took a little while to catch up, but being cautious up here was the right way to approach the market. So this year it keeps telling us, hey, we might get this big bounce, but the rallies are really short lived. So just know that. All right. So if we take advantage of the rally, like just a couple days ago when we had that horrendous move up, I say horrendous, it was amazing. But if for some reason you were caught off sides and you thought the market was done, the next day it took your lunch, so just know that. The next thing that I want to be looking at is the fear and greed index. So this is an extreme fear. All right. So when the market's in extreme fear, the skew is at extreme lows. All right. And the Majority of participants are on the put side, typically will get a rip and rally. All right. Now in 2020, this meant that we would get a rally that would last for days and weeks. During this time frame, we typically get 1 to 3 days in this cycle. All right. So it's very, very short lived. My overall bias going into this week is neutral. There's no reason for us to try to spin that crystal ball and say, oh, look at me. I called the market just perfect. That's really not the approach that we want to be going into. We want to wake up every morning and have a plan. Okay. And my plan is exactly what I teach here. Supply and demand, folks. All right. So supply and demand. And you can see, I'm going to go over a couple of these charts with you guys. Again, I do the futures for our traders as well. So ES and the NASDAQ. So I'll go over the ES and the NASDAQ. Last week's charts were absolutely amazing. They worked very, very well. And I would expect this week's to work just as well. So ES futures, if you don't know anything about it, for every 10 points, that's $1 in the SPY. So I can literally trade the SPY off of this chart if I need to. Okay, you just need to understand if it's 20 points to the upside and I'm going long, then I'm looking for $2 in the SPY. Okay, so this is my weekly look. And so far we're on an inside week, and then we went inside and down. All right. And this is your resistance for now around 36.43. Our support around 35.38, just in case we do get a pullback. 35.06 if for some reason we start to pull back there. 32.48 is a target that I have if the market wants to continue going down. Now, if you're a supply and demand trader, you're going to see this really big candle here. That obviously tells us that we have buyers in here. What I would recommend you to do is you can knock this down into a smaller time frame to find the patterns or the structure that you're looking for to take that trade off of there. And that's what I do when I break it down to a smaller time frame. So this is our daily, and on the daily for ES, I have the trigger longs, the resistance levels, and the trigger short. Last week's trigger short ended up being 100 points of value if you took it from the trigger short. So last week, this line was right here to the tick. All right, this is very straightforward supply zone. We came up, we smacked that on Friday morning, and then boom, down she went. All right. And so as far as this week is concerned, we're bumping up against a little bit of resistance right now. And you can see that here. If for some reason we break over 36.23 tonight, I would be cautious on your daily chart if you start to move into that EMA, that current EMA right now. If I were to open this up, it should show me to the right. It may not. No, but it's at around 36.45, okay? But for my traders in here, for our members, we'll be going over that all in the morning as things could change dramatically, okay? Going over to the 4-hour, this is what it looks like. We're still underneath the cloud. Underneath the cloud is resistance. It's not until we break above the cloud that we really start to move. So please, please understand, smaller time frames and larger time frames. You need to have your setup just like this so that you can run through those very quickly and understand where resistance is, okay? So here on a 5-minute, that's what that looks like. And over here on the 4-hour, we're bumping up very close to resistance here. If for some reason we open up at around this area, okay, be cautious, as you would just be looking for a quick bump and then probably a sell-off. Okay, now that sell-off, is it going to be as big as the ones we've been seeing? Not necessarily. One thing that I want you to notice here, this is typically a 4-hour, I apologize. So let's pull up that 4-hour. This is what the 4-hour looks like. This sell-off, there's no inside and down formation. There's no supply formation within this structure from a 4-hour perspective. And if you notice here, if I were to zoom in, there's no structure here, but there was on a 1-hour. So again, supply and demand traders, go to your 1-hour. You're going to find these levels that I have right here, and I would expect buyers to come in. So for any reason we sell off, I'm a buyer in this area, as long as the TTM squeeze is synergistically coming together with that demand. And you guys know what I look for there. If you don't, reach out to me. but I'll be watching that very closely. If we move up to the upside again, the 4-hour cloud is resistance until proven otherwise, and we have a little bit of supply here from 36.75 to 37.31. So basically, what that leaves me with, folks, is this is going to be our range for the next couple of days. The bigger move really doesn't happen unless we build some value above here or we break down below here. Everything between here is just noise. Okay. So for my folks that like to sell iron condors, this is something I'd be thinking about. Matter of fact, tonight I may go out here and sell ES iron condor into the next day or so right here, especially if that implied volatility is high. Okay. All right, let's go over to the NASDAQ. And by the way, we have a strategy that we teach here in the room I'm very, very proud of. Matter of fact, one of our newest members who just came with us about 2 months ago has done very well. And their email to Trendy Trading specifically highlighted their success here in the room trading our strategy. And I'm just couldn't be more proud of that person. And they have brought their account up to it, and I'm looking right now. It's really, really impressive. I want to say that their account is somewhere between 300 and 500% just trading ES futures, and it's pretty impressive. How do we trade this? I have what's called the pre-market zone, the PMZ, and you hear about a lot of that. We'll be tagging a lot of those trades. And what I do is I could just come up here and I could turn that PMZ on for night. All right, so just come right here and turn this on for yes. Okay, and we're going to see this yellow box come up. And we teach this very straightforward. When the yellow box, so we have the yellow box right in here, it's kind of hard to see at the moment because it's under the cloud. But once it bids above, which it's doing right here, we go long into our targets, into the trendy edges and so forth, okay? All right, let's pull over here and take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, and you can see that yellow box right here as well. So you go bid, stay long above that, and so forth. But this is the PMZ right here, just in case you're wondering. And then let's go to the higher time frames right here. So same thing. Now, on this one, I don't need to go into the daily and the 4-hour because I left the trigger long, the resistance, and so forth. They're all the same on every time frame, and honestly, it looks a lot like the ES futures. So again, something to look at inside and down. That's your inside and down formation. That's going to be resistance until proven otherwise. That is that level there at 11,054. Be careful. It looks like I'm a little high on this. I would actually make note that this wick right here, right there, is going to be resistance as well. So be cautious of that around 10,881. If we bid above that, then you can see resistance in here. Trigger long is a pullback in here and on reclaim as long as the lower time frame TTM squeeze is synergistically coming together. And again, for some reason we open up towards resistance. Please take caution into the morning. I hope that all these levels help you guys out. If you have any questions or you need more from Trendy Trading, again, please check us out at trendytrading.co, where you can get a trial for $5 for a full 7 days, folks. And what you get in that is really, I can't stress it enough. First of all, I'm just going to say it. Nobody, and we have asked so many people, when I say people, I mean services, to do this. We've asked them, why not patch your API from your brokerage account into your service? And that's exactly what we did. Okay, so when I trade, I don't have to do anything. I click the button, I go long, I go short, I sell options, I buy options. Whatever I do shows up here in milliseconds. Okay, so right here underneath spreads, if you like to trade spreads, you could see here's an example right here on Friday. I bought this SPX butterfly. You can see I paid $1 for it. It tells you the exact time I paid. The exact time that I paid for it, what date, it tells you what kind, it tells you the strikes, and then it tells you when I sell it, it lets you know if I lost money or I made money. You can see that I bought this one for 1, I sold for 4, which was a 300% gain. If I lose, it's going to tell you that as well. It tells you all my wins, all my losses, everything is in here. What we do here at Trendy Trading is that we concentrate on percentage. Everybody is different. Whether you put in $5,000 or $500,000, the percent doesn't change. Okay. But what I want to focus on is strategy. Okay. And again, I trade equity, futures, spreads, options, everything. I shouldn't say everything. I don't like trading Forex. Okay. So please understand that. I don't trade Forex, but my system works on Forex. Okay. So again, supply and demand. All right. Works on everything. So again, my alerts, what I trade, what I say is my alerts are proof of concept. All right. They're proof of concept. That means what I say I'm doing, I'm actually doing, and you can see that. And if I win on them, that's my proof of concept. If I lose on them, it's my proof of concept that you can't always win a trade. All right, so transparency is what we're all about. I want to teach you the process, so come check us out. You're going to love the process. I know you will. Many have before you. And again, just check us out. Can't wait to see you. And for our team here, can't wait to trade with you guys in the morning. We'll see you 30 minutes before the bell. Have a good one.